Hi, welcome to the Knitting Thru podcast. My name is Bethany, and this is the 3-year anniversary of this podcast. I am so happy about that. I have enjoyed all the connections I have made in the past 3 years so stinking much, and the community that I have landed in is so positive and so helpful and so patient and gracious and are more interested in bringing peace and help than anything else, and that has been absolutely lovely. One of the things that I do once a year on this channel is just remind you that if you like the videos that you see, be sure to like the video and subscribe and leave a comment, because doing those things make sure to help other knitters, other crafters be able to find my channel as well. And I don't do this for like some type of subscription number, but I do really enjoy the amount of connection that we have on this platform. It's really, really wonderful. And I don't think, I know that I would not have as full of a crafty friendship life without it. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I will, I'll go now and we can start on the podcast.
If you found the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see, yeah. These days
Hello, welcome to the Knitting Thru podcast. My name is Bethany. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be talking about finished objects. I'm going to be talking about works in progress. I'm going to be talking about the garden. I'm going to be talking about anniversary trip, visiting my old local yarn store, all those things, all those great things in this episode. If you've never watched one of my podcast episodes before, first of all, I'm so glad you're here. Second of all, if you think I talk too fast or too slow, you can go in the little settings gear icon and slow me down or speed me up. If you think, oh my goodness, this is entirely too long, there are chapters that you can skip ahead or skip back depending on what you have time for. Or, if you have the whole time for this episode, you can also just grab some snacks in your project and we can hunker down together. I want to dive into finished objects, but I also want to note that I am a little bit sunburnt, a tad bit sunburnt today. I'm a fair lady, and I forgot to put on sunscreen for probably 30 minutes today while I was outside, and it matters for me. So I'm coming to y'all rosy cheeked, and the squirrels are out. My front yard always has bunnies and squirrels in it. We planted roses out there this past week, and it was lovely, but we'll get into that later. Finished objects. First finished object is, most of them are small, but one of them is pretty big. The first finished object is a cushion that I knit for my niece Trinity. She is all into miniature things. Like, she's building a dollhouse that has a working electric fireplace in it. She loves making like these little, what did she call them? They're like little fairy homes, right? So she'll make, I think she just calls it a fairy garden. So it has like a little house, and she'll make these little pieces of furniture for them and stuff. She's been doing that for a couple of years now. And so I asked her, would you like it if I, made you a little knit cushion and just stuffed it with yarn scraps? And she said, that would be awesome. I said, okay. So I knew that I already had a couple of toes knit up, but the yarn, I didn't even realize what I was getting myself into. I was planning on making a pair of scrappy toe-up socks, but the yarn thickness of Patton's Croy compared to all the other sock yarn that I had at the time, it wasn't the same. So they've just been sitting on my needles, and I could have put like a thinner yarn with it and just done the socks and even counted them towards summer sock camp, but I was just kind of done with it. I used this yarn. This is the whole pair of socks that I used the yarn for first. This is called Sidewalk Chalk Stripes with from Patton's Croy. Can you tell I use these socks? This got stained somehow with something. And for a full leg sock with Patton's Croy, I feel like it takes a whole 50 gram skein to do. It's a lot of people who knit with it say it's more like a sport weight, and I agree. I think it's definitely more like a sport weight. I really, really like it. I like how sturdy it is. It's really hard wearing. I don't like as many of their colors, which is of course the way it goes, right, with more commercial sock yarns. But had I not used the contrast heel and toe here, I would have run out of yarn before I finished the sock. So you can tell from the picture that like it wouldn't have made it, which I didn't even think about when I was making these, but I'm glad that that didn't happen, and she was overjoyed to have it. She didn't even remember that we had talked about it, which honestly is the best gifting experience, because you know that they're going to like it from a previous conversation, but they don't remember that you were going to give it to them. So that's always really great. The second finished object that I finished, it was a kerchief. So I took this beautiful yarn. It's from Knitting Notions, and it's in the colorway Garnet. It is a 65% superwash merino and 35% bamboo. And I think the bamboo is what gives it like that sheen. It might just be the superwashness of it also, but it's very shiny. So I took this and a size 3 needle, and I cast on with the Sevilla shawl pattern. The Sevilla shawl is beautiful, and it's a growing shawl. So you work from the bottom up, and so you can just keep going for however long or large you want the shawl to be. It worked out beautifully. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it again. I gave it to my friend Bethany. We were going to Kentucky on our anniversary trip. We were going through Kentucky on our anniversary trip, and we had dinner together. It was so nice to see her again. And a few months ago, probably 6 months ago, more than that, she sent me a little video message of her in a muscle bra that I had made her a couple years ago. And she said, "This is the annual time where I'm thankful for you, and thank you for, making me warm things." And I thought, she should have a summer thing for her hair. That would be so cute. She has this really dark, beautiful, curly, wavy hair. So I thought this was a really great color for her. I'm probably going to make more of these. I really, really liked making it. It obviously didn't take a super long time. I think for a fast knitter, it'd probably be like a weekend project. And I'm realizing I need to weigh this because I want to know how much I used for it. I have some 25 gram minis that are 50% wool, 50% silk. And I think the drape on those would be just as lovely as the drape on this. So I have this idea of making one for each of my sisters, but I already have like gifted a couple of things to my sisters this year for their birthdays. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just make one for me and then I'll be done, but we'll see. Finished object number 3 is my Van Gogh socks. These are the Hermione's Everyday Stitch Pattern. You know what? I'll just work from the top down. I always go back and forth, and I'm sure that for especially people who either don't knit socks as often or people who are newer to sock knitting, it is frustrating to try and keep track. So, cast on is a long tail cast on for the knits and a German twisted cast on for the purls, and I did a 2x2 rib for 20 rounds. Then I can't remember how many rounds. It was some multiple of 4, so it was, oh golly, a longer leg, you know, maybe. I always do this where I try to like estimate the length of it. I know that this one has like a 5.5 inch leg or something, maybe more. Hang on. Hang on. Please pause. So this is about a 5-inch leg there. So, and then I just did the Hermione's Everyday Stitch pattern on there. It's a free pattern, so I talk about it really freely. So your first row is a knit row, your second row is a knit 3, purl 1 row, and then the third row is knit row, and then the fourth row is like offsetting it. So it's knit 1, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1. So it's like a 3x1 broken offset rib, if that makes any sense. I did my tread heavy heel and my tread heavy ball of the foot here. If you want to know how I do that, I have some videos on my channel that walk you through that. This contrast cuff is from Teeny Button. You can see it's like this really pale pink undertone white there. The colorway is Bartok, and so if you've watched Anastasia, you know why it's that color. He's Bartok, and I kicker, sir. I absolutely love that. And then this is Van Gogh inspired yarn from Opal. Of course, Starry Night is one of Van Gogh's most famous works, and so this is inspired by that. I was a little bit surprised that they used orange instead of yellow in it. Of course, this green is supposed to be the cypress tree, and the blue is the sky and everything, but the orange caught me a little off guard. I was surprised by that. Maybe as the colors fade, as the years go by, it will turn more yellow, and I'll be happy about it. Can you tell I wear these? There's been hair like all over these, even though they're clean. I did wash them. I've worn these a couple of times. I got them done before our anniversary trip, so that was really nice. I was actually able to wear them on our anniversary trip. And yeah, they're very cozy. First experience with Opal yarn. I think it's a really good, if you like Patons Kroy for the weight, this might not be your favorite. It's a true fingering weight yarn, but it does have the same sturdiness and toothiness of Patons Kroy, which to me is really nice because I feel like those yarns hold my foot a little better. Even though the indie dyed yarn is beautiful and soft, I feel like it just doesn't hold its shape as well. Oh, wow. They are driving. They're driving, and they're loud, and they're driving. Okay. Last finished object is the Coffee Cardigan. I finished it. Oh, my gosh. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, my goodness. Huh. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. I'll put in some video here. The light is adjusting for some reason, but I'll put in some video here of me wearing it so you can kind of see how it fits and everything. I absolutely love it. It's one of those projects where the marriage of the yarn and the pattern were just like so good. So the yarn is Green Mountain Spinneries Evergreen in the DK weight there. It's very pretty. There we go. Lighten up a little bit there. It's very pretty. It has these like little yellow and black nips in it every once in a while, which are just scrumptious. There was a lot of vegetable matter in this yarn, but honestly, I mean, the reason I got it and loved it is because I'm like currently pulling stuff out of it right now. Is because it's more minimally processed, and if you're into more minimally processed yarn, then that's just going to be part of the experience. So I have 149 grams left. That's significant, actually. That's like a good amount to be able to make something else. So of course, the way that I do it is I usually make a project with this beloved yarn, and then I try to use every single bit of the rest of it, because if I enjoyed it the first time, then I'm just gonna enjoy using every inch of this yarn. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed this pattern. The Coffee Cardigan is by KBF Studio, and it's a drop shoulder cardigan, of course, you can see here. And I have a V-neck raglan cardigan, also green. And this one I did with a little bit less length than the other one. My champagne cardigan is a full length cardigan, and it goes down to probably mid-hip, and this one I did so that I could wear it with some more high-waisted things, whether it was like a dress or a skirt or my high-waisted jeans. So it's up here. I really like it a lot. I love the stitch pattern. These buttons that I have on it are from my trip to California. They have these lovely rose embossed things on it. They're navy. They come up a little dark on the camera, but they are navy. And I just absolutely love it. I love the way it fits. I love the way it looks. I think I would like to soak it one more time. I feel like the stitches didn't get a chance to relax all the way. But that may be partially because I was just so excited about having it done. I finished it way too late. I stayed up way too late to finish it. But like when you see that you only have so many stitches left of the button band, what are you gonna do? So I stayed up super late to finish it, and then I put it in the water, and then of course I'd already stayed up really late, so I set this 20-minute timer, and then I laid it out on the blocking mats. But I think I'm gonna soak it one more time. I think if I let it sit for longer, that it'll be even yummier. It's toothy, and that's what I wanted from it. So with the toothier yarns, every once in a while I get some sensory icks from that, but see, there's another yellow bit there and there. Ugh, I love it. So it's pretty warm today. I've done this before. Or last year I finished a couple of cardigans in June or July, and I would wear them indoors, in the air conditioning, because there's the yo-yoing between the air conditioning in the States to the outdoors. I mean, it's great to have air conditioning, don't get me wrong, it's lovely. And sometimes there's like a 30-degree difference between what's happening outside and what's happening inside. So it can be 95, 100 degrees outside, and people have their thermostats set to like 75, which is fine, and that's great. I mean, some people have it even lower than that, which is crazy to me. But my husband is one of those people. If we didn't live in the same space, he would probably have it a lot lower. than it is in our house. But I just am so pleased with this knit. I used a 4mm needle instead of the recommended needle size. I think the next time I do it, I might actually go up a couple of sizes because I really like this fit, and I think I'd really like a more oversized one as well. So I almost cast one on right after I finished this one, which doesn't really happen with me. I don't often knit things twice. I really, if I really enjoyed a project, I'll talk about it a little bit, and then usually I don't actually do it. Like I knit the champagne cardigan, really loved it, talked about knitting another one, and did not. But this one, I'm actually ideating about like another color. How quickly could I get it done? Is it possible? Who knows? I really, really love it. It's so beautiful. And I think, I think one more soak would just make it absolutely perfect. So I'll try to be patient this time, but even without another soak, it still fits pretty well. And I'm in love. I'm in love with it. I love the way the pattern was written. It was very understandable. The fronts, like wherever that last increase is, this whole thing is all one chart, so you don't have to be flipping back and forth. You don't have to figure out your own increases or anything like that. It's a really great pattern that is, of course, very trackable. So I was doing one chart repeat a day, and then after a little bit I was doing more than that because I was on the sleeves. But it's just absolutely lovely. I like it a whole lot. So I thought for a second after making this one that maybe I should gift my other green v-neck cardigan to someone else. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm probably just going to keep them both. They're different lengths, you know. So, and they're different shades of green. I could have probably 4 green v-neck cardigans, and at that point be like, okay, maybe the next one I should give one away. Maybe the next one. All right, so one of the reasons that I was so motivated to get the coffee cardigan done, even though it's just beautiful and I wanted to own it, is that there are some things coming up this month that I also need to complete, and I wanted to be able to just focus this month on those things and not have the personal love of the coffee cardigan get in the way. I just wanted to be able to finish that and love it, and then move on to the things that I want to finish outside of that. So one of the things that I need to cast on, I actually need to find what yarn I'm going to use for it. This is a pair of socks I finished last month, maybe the month before. I don't remember, but I think it was last month. And I had Evan try them on. He has some very wide feet, so this is a 72-inch circumference. They were still very, very tight on his feet width-wise. The length was good, but the width was not great. And then he said he would like it a little bit longer at the leg. So I am going to cast on another pair of socks for him. So that's one July goal. And then another thing that's happening is my baby sister is no longer a baby because she's having her own baby, and her baby shower is next month. So obviously baby knits don't take very long, but I feel like because they don't take very long, a lot of times I was going to say we all, but maybe we all don't. Maybe y'all are more responsible than I am. I would bet on that. Because they don't take very long, I get cocky and I'm like, oh, I could do that, you know, in however much time, even though it's a real thing that you have to knit. You have to put time into it to finish it. So I'm gonna work on that. What I think I want to do is at least a cardigan, and then maybe also a baby hat. We'll see. And if I can do those two things, then maybe a baby pair of socks. But I'm just going to be trying to overachieve no matter what happens. I know that. So I have a couple of other things that I want to finish this month as well. I have a pair of socks that I want to finish for my sister Sarah. Speaking of, Sarah, if you're watching, you need to go away now because I'm going to be showing your gift in a minute. So I love you. Thanks for being supportive. Bye. And then for my brother-in-law Ned, who I also am going to be knitting a pair of socks for him, but this is exactly the template that I'm going to be using for his. So if I can't get the ones that I want done for him done, then I'm going to just send these off to him. I'm going to send these off to him either way, but I'm hoping to have the color palette that he was hoping for along with this pair. So there's that. So I only have 3 works in progress to share with you because honestly, everything else that I need to focus on this month, I need to cast on. Baby things and socks are the things that I need to finish this month, and also a test knit. Is that enough? Should I add more things? Blah. So silly. Okay. Anyway, speaking of test knits, this here, it's just a little doo-wopper. It's just a little one right now, but it's getting bigger all the time. This is the Utility Shawl Test Knit by Jonathan of Jonathan Day's podcast. He put out a call for testers in his, was it his last podcast episode? And I had seen his previous samples of it, and I just think it is so great. I think that the hackability of this pattern is a 10. This is my theory. I don't think that the muscle bra or the ranunculus or whatever super popular pattern you've heard of and seen done over and over again, I don't think they're popular because of the exact pattern. I think they're popular because of their hackability. Specifically, the ranunculus and the muscle bra, you can change a lot of things about it and it still be recognizable as that pattern. And I think that's what is going to happen with this one as well. With the muscle bra, you can figure out your yardage really easy. The math is workable for a lot of different needs. And I think that's how this pattern is going to be too. So it's really nice. It's knitting up really beautifully. It's obviously knit in the round, and it's gonna be, so that means it'll be this double thick shawl. I am using Ronin felted tweed in the color turquoise, and then I'm using Cumulus Surrey alpaca. It's like coming apart right there, in the colorway teal. And together they are just so beautiful. The alpaca is taking some of this variation. You can see there's like brown and white neps in there, taking some of this variation away from it. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being more cohesive. And if I have any more of this left, I might make some mitts to match or something. Wouldn't that be cute? It'd be so cute. This is supposed to be done by the beginning of August. So this is going to be my have to get it done every day knit, so that once I get to the end of July, I'll have, like, you know, the last 10% to do or something, even if I got a little distracted by something else. So I will keep you posted. There's not much more I can say about it because it's test knit, and of course test knits are, you know, apt to change and morph, and I love already 2 things. Being part of this test knit has been lovely because I have never been in a test knit group that has had so many male knitters in it, and that has been really fun to, like, just have a more diverse group of people. And yeah, that's been really great. And then also Jonathan's responses to suggestions and questions have just been full of grace and like allowing for creativity on everyone's part, and that is always really nice when the designer is kind. When the designer is kind and can yeah, see where you're coming from, basically. So that's always really nice. The second work in progress is my coffee break socks. Now these are the coffee break socks in the pattern. These cups are in brown. I kept this pop of color the same. It's kind of this, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a emerald blue or something. My light's fading here. But I kept that color the same, but then all these colors were supposed to be brown. But I changed the coffee cups to one of the variegated yarns in that magic ball that I had to tear apart for when I was confused about what was going on with my blanket. So that one was really fun, and I think it's really great. I showed them to my sister-in-law Joy today, and her reaction, I want everyone to have this type of reaction when they show their knitting to someone. I was like, can I show you the socks I'm making for Sarah? And I showed them to her, and she went, oh, like that. And I was like, thank you. That, yeah, I know she was genuine, but I also kind of want her to train people on how to react when people show them their knitting. Yeah. So this is obviously the first sock. I am over halfway through this heel flap here, which is wonderful. I think this evening I'm going to be able to finish it. For some reason, I'm a little bit stalled on this Eye of Partridge heel. I already made some kind of mistake in there. Can you see where I was doing, like, it wasn't lining up, so some of it's a slip stitch situation. I thought before I did it, I was like, maybe I should just do the regular slip stitch thing that I always do. And I was like, no, I can follow a pattern. Apparently, I'm on the struggle bus more than I thought. And honestly, I don't think I'll do it again. I think I'm okay with just, like, being okay with the heel that I like. That's okay with me. So I have these little bits of this brown from my Advent mini from Freckled Whimsy, and that's not going to make it through the rest of this colorwork. This colorwork is one toe that was frogged plus a little bit of this. Now there should have been another frogged toe in this basket somewhere, but I think it fell out when my son accidentally dumped this basket onto the floor. So I do have this one, which is from Indigo and Guinea Fibers. Now, obviously, they do not look the same. They are not the same shades of brown, but I think in this color work, first of all, it's not going to show. And I also plan on getting to the toe on this one and stopping, right? So that I can, like, use the rest of this up and know that the toes will match, because I think that would be the part where it's more noticeable if you're switching from one brown to the other one. My last work in progress is my Summer Fade Hexie blanket. It would be impossible, I think, for me to show it to you here, like, in a full way. So I will put a picture up again, like I did last time, about where I am. I still have sewn in 0 ends, and I'm okay with that. So this top part is mostly white, and then as the name suggests, the colors start to fade in here with this, and then they kind of do this diagonal thing, right? So I finished where would it be? So I finished the tan one, of course, and the gold one I had finished last time. And then I finished the yellow and the orange as well. So I almost have all the colors incorporated now. I have 4 colors finished, and then I have this beautiful, oh, isn't that just scrumptious? Oh, that one's really, really nice. That one is, this one is a Variations colorway. I can find the tag in a minute. And then this one is the last melon. This one is the last color. It's this gorgeous, gorgeous green. Oh, I'm so into that. So I've got my blues solidly underway after the whole blue saga last time. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so over it. I'm so happy that I just decided to use those yarns because, you know, when you have things set out for a specific project and then you use them for something else, sometimes there is this kind of like, oh, I still kind of wanted it for that project. And I'm realizing that that's okay. I can reorder skeins of yarn. That's fine. It's okay. It's something I can do. It's not like it's long gone. And there will always be beautiful yarn. Always. And I have friends who dye yarn now. I have friends, okay, in the last 3 years, because it's been 3 years now since I started my podcast, which, what is happening? That's crazy. But in the last 3 years, I've made so many friends who are knitters. But of course, knitters don't only knit. If you're knitting for a certain amount of time and you just dive in, then you become a knitter and a spinner, or a knitter and a dyer, or a knitter and a crocheter, or a knitter and a weaver. Like you suddenly become all the things. And so I have friends who are all the things, and I can ask them, can I buy a thing from you? And it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's fine. I don't need to have anxiety about like some type of scarcity mindset about running out of yarn. That's not my reality. That's not my life. I literally just bought an Advent last week. That's the second one, guys. I've only got 2 so far, so it's okay. I am telling myself that I should probably work on some of the Advent yarns from last year before December. That's a tangent. Let's focus on what we should be focusing on. This is Barocco Vintage Sock. That's the main color. The colorway name is Mochi. And it's this very cool toned white. I really like it. Color number 12001. Then the tan one, hang on, let me get scraps. Then the tan one, which I only have this much left of, which is so satisfying. That can be used up so quickly, right? So quickly. That one is, it was gifted to me, and that one is a mystery one. It came with this little note. That little smiley face makes me happy. And then the gold is the Smooshy, is it Smooshy Cashmere? Is that what it's called? Oh, Dream in Color yarn, Smooshy Cashmere base in the colorway Naked Shame. Now, of course, you remember I had to buy another skein of this to be able to finish it. So there's 99 grams left of this one. Obviously, this is not like a scrap. This is like a true skein of yarn. So I don't know what I'm going to use that one in next, but we'll see. Okay, hypermobile friends. You know when you you sleep really deeply and you wake up and it's like your bones fell into the wrong place? That's what I'm experiencing today. I'm hoping I can figure out how to place myself while I sleep this evening so that it feels better. This yellow, I dyed botanically, what do I want to say? I tried to dye it botanically. It didn't work. So then I used food coloring to dye it. And there we go. I've got probably 22 grams left of that. And then this one, this orange that I finished, look at that variation. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that one. That one, I also have about the same left, a little bit less of that one, and that is by AJHC Wools on Etsy. This is the basic sock base. It's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon, and the colorway name is Hephaestus. Isn't that just great? As a Greek mythology nerd, Greek and Roman mythology nerd, I just really love that. I love it. Hephaestus is like a smith, like a blacksmith, goldsmith, guy. And so he's always fashioning things for different gods. So the next colors I'm using, I used up the rest of what I had for this darker red, and it's called Carnelian, and it was this knitted wit mini that I had. I just had a little bit left of it and it kept hanging on, and it wasn't the same color as this red, but because I was holding these together, it didn't really show up badly, so I used that up first, and now I have these. This one is from Teeny Button Studios. This one's called Azula, and then this one is one of the ones I got on my trip to New Hampshire. This is the Teeny Button Studio one. And then this one, here it is. The Periwinkle Sheep in the colorway Cranberry. This one is also a 75-25. And this is the only one that I'm holding two separate colors for in the blanket because I wanted to have some more of this left over. Then I have, this is another one, this purpley one. This is the same as the yellow one I had, where I tried to do it botanically and ended up doing it with food coloring. So look how flat that thing is getting. Yeah, we're getting there, man. We're doing it. Then, here we go. Just 3 more. This one is, honestly, it's probably my favorite. I love it so much. Look at how beautiful it is. Look at that. It just, doesn't it, I feel like it could be anything. It could be a Cinderella slipper. It could be the tides of summer. It could be the wind. It could, could be the clouds. I love it so much. Like, just the tonality of it is, I love working with it so much. And that one is from Mouse Witch Yarn here. This was the week 2 full skein for Advent of last year. I have probably used half of that Advent so far. I want to use more of it. I want to use the purple one for a muscle burl because I think it would be gorgeous with my hair. I'm getting more used to having white hair in the front, and so it's hard for me to change though what I have viewed in the past as like my colors, and so we're working on that. This one is called Emerald Waters. This is the Variations colorway. This is also a 75-25, and look at that. Emerald Waters for sure. The Blue Lagoon. And then the last one is from the Treasure Goddess. This one is 70% superwash wool, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. And I got some yak yarn on purpose because if I have leftover of this one, what I will have leftover of the others, I'll have enough to make like heels and toes on some socks. And I think yak yarn in the toes would be really scrumptious. So obviously this, I have some of this already crocheted up, but I haven't attached it yet. Once I get this on there, I will have added all the colors to the blanket. So I anticipate that happening very soon. Here's what I love about crochet blankets. First of all, they seem to work up faster. And I think part of that is because you can disconnect the tools from the blanket, right? Once you finish a hexie, you can like fold this up and put it away for a second. Also, I'm a little bit obsessed with learning new things, and with crochet hexies or granny squares or whatever, you're doing the same thing repeatedly. And for me, that's really soothing. And I actually had to put this away for a little bit. And that seems to be happening every month. That if I don't put it away for a little bit, I end up hurting my hands because I'm so into doing it. And also, I have to put it away because I will not be able to get anything else done. So this is another month where I have other goals, right? But I also really want to keep working on this. So I don't know what that will mean. I don't know if I'll actually be able to put a lot of work into it this month, but that's okay. I keep telling myself it's okay. Because even if I don't finish it, right? Like if I'm not able to satisfy my longing to work on it as much as I would like to, I was planning on this thing taking me the entire year. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and it's July, the beginning of July. So I don't think it's going to take me the whole year unless I make myself take the whole year, you know? And my kids, though, they want me to finish it too. They keep saying, like, did you add another color? Oh, I love that one. When are you going to be done with that? I really love that. They're so cute. So that is everything for the works in progress. Obviously, I mentioned several works in progress that I want to put on the needles, but I do find that I get overwhelmed if I have too many things that are active whips. So I'm going to just keep trying to push through. I also am realizing that I need to kind of prioritize things by quote deadline. None of the gifts that I want to give to these people are things that I must have done by any deadline, except for some of the baby knits, because the baby shower actually is on a specific day. So I'm realizing I should prioritize that first and make sure that that's the test knit. So the baby things and the test knit are the two things that actually do have deadlines. But the rest of it is just the things that I want to do to give to people I love. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to be pretty organized, I think, this month, because I'll have to be. But I want to definitely do it in a way where I can do the things that I need to do first, so that I can do things later in the day that I would still enjoy. So blocking out some time most every day to focus on the things that I need to like kind of check off, so that I can also still enjoy the things that I do, if that makes sense. Oh, okay. It's getting a little warm in here because I always turn off the air conditioning when I do my podcast, because the intake vent is in this room and it annoys me to no end. I hate it. So I turn it off when I'm podcasting, but it's also getting a little warm in here. Oh, my husband is going to come out and be like, did you turn the air off? Yes. Yes, I did. Sorry. So, one of the things I wanted to show you, I finally was able to get in on a pre-order for some Hello Lavender stitch markers. They were the Aurora Borealis set. So this is one. Very pretty. It's actually a little more iridescent than it's showing up here. And then there's this sun and moon. Can you see? Yeah. Very pretty. I'm so looking forward to putting them in my projects. I am back from our anniversary trip. I was trying to get so many things done before we left on our anniversary trip, including the coffee cardigan, which did not happen. I actually got it done. It doesn't even count for June as a finished object. I got it done July 3rd, something like that. And then I brought the Hexie blanket and my sister's sock, but like I didn't work on them hardly at all while I was there. I only worked on the coffee cardigan because I wanted to get it done. And it was funny because I was carrying this huge bag on the side of me while we were like visiting things and, oh, that's nice pottery, blah, blah, blah. And finally finished it, which was great. And then we also planted some roses in our front yard, which was a great choice. My husband has been talking about wanting to plant some roses out front for a while, and we finally were able to do that. He got a 4-day weekend on the 4th of July, which hasn't happened since I think he was in the Army. And that was lovely. And he was so motivated to do a bunch of stuff, which was amazing and so beautiful. I'll put in some video of the built-in that he built for us in our front room. It's gorgeous. He is a carpenter by trade, and so he builds beautiful things. And I get to enjoy them, which is lovely. Most of them. A lot of times he's building beautiful things at other people's houses, but sometimes it's at our house, which is very nice. We also planted some foxgloves in the back, which are beautiful, and the kids are very concerned anytime a petal falls off. But when we came back from our trip, something had eaten a ton of our garden. It had dug up our kids' berry bushes and all of our little boy's spinach. The only things that it left alone were any plants that would produce a fruit with a rind on it. So the watermelon plants were left alone. The squash and the pumpkin plants were left alone. Weeks ago, my husband's jalapeno plant was like, the top of it was chopped off, and it was like, whatever chopped it off went, bleh. Just like immediately let it fall out of its mouth because it was just chopped off on the ground. So I think it didn't like that plant, but it ate all the tops off my sunflowers. Oh, I was so upset. So I found the culprit. Actually, my husband found the culprit. He pointed him out. So we're going to have to deal with him. Oh my gosh. That groundhog kills me. So, anyway, got a lot to deal with. We also, my husband dealt with these yellow jackets that were living in the doorway of our back door, which we just realized this past weekend. So he's been busy. Yeah. But it's been good. And hopefully I can get this podcast up quickly, but no promises. We'll see. Guys, I have no idea how to communicate how much I want to be organized this month, but also feel like my brain really, really just wants to do a scattergun thing. Like just wants to just dilly-dally. Just every day. Just dilly-dally with the projects. And here's what my heart really wants, right? What my heart really wants is to pause all the crochet and knitting projects and finish all my sewing whips. I have a quilt and 3 skirts that are in the middle of being done. But those are never really the priority. Those are just things for me. And then another part of me just wants to spend all month just making all the baby things, all of them, and have like a whole little package for all the baby things. But I can also do all the baby things until and after the baby is born. So having a few things for the shower is just fine. And then another part of me just wants to finish the blanket. I just want to sit down and finish it. Sure, there's probably 60 hexes still to do, but you know, that's possible. Yeah, I want to do all the things. I also want to cast on another coffee cardigan. I also want to cast on the nature's cardigan that I've been talking about for months and months and months that I want to do. I also want to cast on these DK scraps from my other pair of socks so that I can try them on a 3mm needle instead of a 3.25. See if those turn out better. Oh, man. I want to do all the things. I want to do all the things. And I should write it down. It's always what helps if I write it down. Sometimes I'll write it down and even throw away the list. But for some reason, getting it onto that paper and out of my head makes it less overwhelming. So I'm going to go write things down now. The culprit has been found. Look at him and his guilty face.